States overnight, in multiple cities.
In Minneapolis last night.
Into lower Manhattan last night.
The situation here in Santa Monica, California.
A chaotic night in Denver after
protesters as they move through the city of Ferguson, protesting the death of George Floyd while in custody of Minneapolis police. That happened on Monday.
Imagine landing in somewhere in the Middle East, like in the middle of a crisis.
This is a film of my own personal journey and asking lots of questions, leaning into the pain, and trying to learn. In the wake of George Floyd's death, I saw so much pain and confusion erupt around our nation. And as a white man in America, I honestly had no idea how to respond. More specifically, as a white man that follows Jesus Christ, I really wanted to find out what I should do, what I should say, and how I should respond. I decided to travel to meet up with my friend JT Thomas, who's really been in the heart of this conversation since the Ferguson riots erupted in 2014. This is a story about my journey to meet with him and learn from him.
When I saw the video of George Floyd crying out to the officer and saying, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," and just saw him casually sitting there as if nothing was, as if he had no voice and as if his life had no value, it recalled every violation, every trauma, all the pain of the Black experience from Africa to the nations of the earth, where we were bought, sold, and where it was codified in law that we were not human and we had no voice. And I felt it. And I've been healed of a lot of stuff. I mean, I've been healed, but it was like it was not just a violation consciously, but there were areas of my DNA. It was like I could feel the violation of it in my DNA, and I was angry. I was angry, and I was sad, but I was deeply angry.
When we got here to St. Louis, there was a lot of rioting and looting and shootings and different things. One of the things that happened is a retired police officer was shot and killed by a looter. And we came here to the place where he was murdered while we were here just to honor his memory. And we showed up here, and his family, they shared his story. My heart feels so grieved by the situation with George Floyd, and my heart is also grieved by the man that was killed right here and just everything that's going on. And I think for me, one of the powerful things that I witnessed is just being present, like being here. We came to this place and being the church in this hard place, we had the opportunity to pray with the whole family and to be there and to minister to them. I think right now, one of the best ways that we can respond as the church is to be present, to be there in the midst of the pain, to listen and to love and to care and to pray with people and to share the gospel.
In 2014, 18-year-old Black man named Mike Brown was killed by Officer Darren Wilson, and Ferguson became the flashpoint. It was a flashpoint moment that tipped America into this new protest culture. And so we moved here in 2014 temporarily on a missionary assignment. God moved in a profound way. We moved our family here again in 2015 at the very beginning, after about a 90-day stint of missionary activity here. And we moved here really to see a missions base established and to see this global missions movement come out of Ferguson, which is what I heard the Lord say. He said, out of Ferguson and what Ferguson represents, I am going to raise up a global missions movement. But this street and this strip is where everything that you see happening in our nation at this exact moment was reintroduced when the festered wound in America opened and exploded. And it started, the whole thing unraveled and started in 2014 with Mike Brown going into that building right there. First shots fired down there, Mike Brown's, he drops right here on this square pavement. And this was where, this became an altar of pain. It became this place where people came from all over the world and still do. They come to see this street, to see where it all happened. So we respond to crisis in several different ways. One, we have a public action that we do. It's a silent prayer meeting called The Wall. And what we do is we take tape, we put our prayer burden on it, and we get people of every hue and color if we can. If there's no diversity, that's fine. But we go out and we stand before God in silence and we pray, and it looks like a protest, but what it's doing is inviting the peace of God, and we're praying on behalf of the land. And we've seen it absolutely transform cities and regions, and we've even seen like the police see what we do and they go, oh my gosh, ever since you've been here, everything's silent. But as soon as you guys leave, everything goes crazy. Will you come and get your people here? So that's kind of what we've seen. So we do the wall, we do the hope rallies, and these are these moments of gathering testimonies, creating an atmosphere for people to be heard, and then also worship in the middle of chaos, because we see that when we exalt Jesus in those places, amazing things happen. And then finally, for the long term, it's not enough just to be responding to crisis. We have to be proactive. And so we're building a community. We're doing justice through spiritual, cultural, and economic renewal. That means we're starting businesses to create jobs. We're helping transform our city by buying homes and restoring them, trying to get them in condition for people to live there, and really build an economy or a culture that is based in God's love for everyone and the way He gives dignity to every person.
He brought me this far to leave me. Listen, you'll see lots of folks saying, I'm just tired. Maybe you said it, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of all this rage. I'm tired of all this anger. But He who rules over the heavens, God of heaven and earth, He's not tired. He's with us in this intersection. It's time to get untired. As we worship, I believe God's going to bring restoration. I believe that, would you believe that God might do a miracle all over America tonight? That your worship in this place could shift the atmosphere of a city, could change the seasons and the times.
Just here in St. Louis on the Arch, the park rangers came up to ask what we were doing. We told them we were praying at the courthouse and that we're going to have a worship and prayer rally here. They asked how many people were going to be involved. They asked if we were going to have a generator, so we let them know that. They said, hey, we know you don't have a permit. We're going to work with you, though. We're here to serve you. And then they came back a second time and said, hey, the generator can't be on the property, but if you guys can put it on the outside of the property, that would be great, and we'll be here all night if you need anything.
I think most people in the church are asking the question, what do I do? And here's the one thing that I believe we need to start with, and that is asking God for the gift of tears. God, help me to feel. I don't feel, I don't understand, I don't feel what you feel. Lord, give me your heart. So first thing is prayer. The second thing is the action to that prayer is set the table. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we need to look in our lives and examine the landscape of our relationships and say, who do I, let's be honest, hate the most? Or who do I misunderstand the most? Who rubs me wrong the most? And let me get them to the table to understand them and just let them talk and say, you know what, I want to hear you, and I do hear you. I don't understand you, but I want to. And watch God do a miracle. Perhaps they would extend you that courtesy, and at the table, we would find one another, because families eat at that place.
We just arrived at Ground Zero here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and we're going in to connect with a pastor where his church is right next to the memorial where George Floyd was killed just a few days ago. And really this has been the center of the attention, the center of really everything that's been going on in the past week. So we just arrived here.
My name is Curtis Farrar. My church, y'all excuse me, is on 3808 Chicago Avenue South. The name is Worldwide Outreach for Christ. I apologize, I didn't mean that. Sometimes they get a little touchy. God kind of touches me sometimes. But I'm located at 3808 Chicago Avenue South, right on the corner, right across the street from where this tragedy happened.
We just got here to the site where George Floyd was killed, and right here in this area, there's just so many people, different walks of life, not only from Minneapolis, but from all over the nation, all over the world, come here, and just a somber place. And it's kind of mind-blowing what's happening here. So many people are coming together here in this place. There's free meals, there's free drinks everywhere. People of different faiths, backgrounds, people that look different are just all flooding the corners, just giving away food, just loving on each other. And in this city, there have been a lot of riots, there's been a lot of bad going on, but one of the things we see is also the churches have landed here in the heart of this and are really demonstrating the love of Christ. They're really here to serve, and just like there's not a corner that you can go to in this area without someone trying to serve you or love on you.
We're so excited to be here in Minneapolis. All the churches coming together has been amazing, from all different communities, all different walks of life. We've got lots of boots on the ground, and I know it's spreading like wildfire all over the country, and it's really exciting to see. We're here passing out food and giving out donations, and we're helping the church behind us with anything that comes in to help support what they're doing.
Now, when this first happened, I saw a lot of my people out there, just my people, but a few days later, then it was all kinds of people. And it reminded me of the fact that this is what God was trying to bring attention to. But now God is a spirit, and I believe God, and He's a holy God, and God has a plan for the nations. So I believe that God was trying to get the attention of His people to realize that we need to get back to being the example of love, of godliness, kindness. I believe God is trying to get people to realize that we have a human rights problem in this country. And I personally believe that He expected Christians to be the ones that will stand up and call attention to the fact that God made us all one blood.
I want everyone here to say, we hear you. We hear you. White America, who may not understand, and you might say, I don't understand, it's hard for me. You know what? Just because you say I hear you doesn't mean you understand, but we must build a table of understanding. We got to get to a place where we can hear, and beyond hearing to where we can see. As we take our stand, I want you to say, I hear you. I hear you. We're going to enter into this moment of silence. If you want to join us and honor George Floyd, as if you look towards this altar of pain, you will see people standing in a circle with white tape on their mouths. And the tape represents those who have been silenced. But in all my only words, cycles were meant to be broken.
Keep declaring it.
But first we must recognize there's redemption. And the cross is the solution. Cross is the solution. These cycles are meant to be broken. But first we must recognize I'm proud of. The cross is the solution. They call it racism, they can call it injustice, you can call it police brutality, but let me tell you what it actually is. It's evil, fam. It is what it is, and we can't keep misdiagnosing this thing because we're not gonna get healed. This is evil. To cure evil, you need something from the Spirit. You need something from heaven that you do not have on this earth. And I'm telling you right now that I have seen it. The Lord taught us this in the Lord's Prayer. He said, yes, Lord, our Father who art in heaven. I want everybody to pray with me right now. Everybody to pray with me. You can hear my voice. We're going to take a knee right now. With George Floyd, take a knee right now. All across this place. All across the people in the back. People in the back, let's take a knee right now. If you know this prayer, pray it with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us today our daily bread. And forgive us our sins, as we forgive those who sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Amen. Stand up.
The Bible said, by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, that ye have love one toward the other. And he also said, this is how you know you've passed from darkness to light, that you love the brethren. And people need to understand that if you got hate in your heart for your brother or your sister, you really don't have God in there too. Now, I say that because it's going to take God to really love your brother as yourself, or even just to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's going to take God to do that because of human nature. But this is why God sent his son, Jesus, and died on the cross for all of our sins to make sure that human nature is changed. Human nature is changed. And it's going to take the Spirit of God in us to make that kind of change and to really love our brother as ourselves.
When I look at where this is going, will racism ever end before Jesus returns? Yes and no. In the Bible, in Ephesians, it talks about the saints, you and I, those who believe in Jesus, coming to a unity of the faith and a maturity, like where we believe the same things. There is a John 17, oneness coming, where we will identify as like not black, white, this, that, and the other primarily, but as sons and daughters. That's going to happen. But in the culture, in Matthew 24, it says ethnic group will rise against ethnic group. And the sign of that, or when you see that, that means Jesus is on his way. And we see it increasing more and more in the culture today. And so racism and tribal, like black against white and this, that, and the other in the culture, no, that's not gonna end. But the people of the cross, the family of God, it's our responsibility, our role to fight for the beauty of God to be made known. And for those who don't know that they're a part of a multicultural family, to go after them and invite them into this family. When the culture says, don't love, we become known because people are gonna go, how in the world can that black person love that white person, that Asian love that Hispanic? But they're gonna be astounded because there's so much chaos in the culture. But this is our glory, and this is what Jesus died for.
I started my journey with an open heart. I wanted to learn. I wanted to listen. I've discovered ultimately that most people just want to be heard. Rather than walking away or trying to ignore the issues of our society, I've discovered that there is something powerful about leaning into the pain. When I start to lean into the pain with God's love and an open ear, I'm able to see healing begin. I'm learning to engage with those who are hurting rather than turning the other way. I'm discovering that there are opportunities to share the gospel in the midst of that pain. I've learned on this journey that I want to not only listen, but I also want to take action. I have such a desire to pray, participate, and build cross-cultural relationships. I've discovered that these moments are powerful times to share the gospel with those that are hurting. I want to learn more and help promote positive changes in our society. Right now, people are searching for answers. People are longing for hope. The church is the hope and the light of the world. There is no issue or darkness that is too great for the light of Jesus Christ in us and through us. Right now, we desperately need wisdom and clarity. Thankfully, I've seen that in Jesus Christ, we find perfect wisdom. And with his wisdom, we can discern what true justice is. I believe that the world is waiting and watching for the sons and daughters of God to arise. The world is waiting for a church that will listen, empathize, and love them. I've learned that I can tell someone I hear them even if I disagree with them. I now see that I can show someone I care by listening to them even when I don't understand. I want to do what Jesus would do. I want to be where he would be. Though the nations are raging, he is speaking. As the cultures shout, he is listening. To all of those watching who feel unheard, I want to simply say on behalf of the church, we hear you.
Imagine what the world would look like if we put our differences aside. Imagine what the world would look like. What if we put our difference aside? All of our idols, all of our pride. What if we laid our weapons down? What if we walked in each other's shoes? What if we saw another point of view? What if we came together now? Imagine what the world would look like if we put our differences aside.
Through prayer and song, church groups gather in Lower Manhattan, making sure their voices are heard.
We're just here to spread the love, spread that there's hope, and there are people here that want unity.
We're so powerful when we work together.
Organizers speaking on the importance of peaceful protests with a spiritual message.
Pray for the city and pray for our nation, and just pray that the Lord would bring healing and that He would tear down walls of division.
In this darkness, is there healing for their sorrow? Can we just stay in the fight? It won't happen overnight. We gotta wake up, we can't wait until tomorrow. So bring your policies and politics and lay them on the altar. Your offenses, your past tenses, let them go. 'Cause we've been asleep for much too long. There's so much work that must be done. Spirit, give us strength and help us make it so. Imagine what the world would look like if we put our differences aside. Imagine what the world would look like. Imagine what the world would look like if we put our differences aside. Imagine what the world would look like. 'Cause walls I see